Dplus today. Like, I like the Rise over the Talia, but the rest of the draft didn't really hit for us. Like, we were thinking Nongshim had the better draft in Game 1. Game 2, the draft was incredibly risky for Dplus.
Yeah.
Game 1 was not as extremely obviously risky, but still was very risky. So now also opting to give first pick over to Nongshim RedForce. I think we'll see some different bans here, but CVMax, started the year off great. Let's keep it that way with some, obviously we can't run drafts back anymore, but sometimes CVMax has run draft identities back.
Yeah, that's the problem, is just run back another version of a similar style of draft, but with worse champions is not necessarily what you want to be looking for either. But we're going to be remaining with the same first couple of bans here, as Poppy is going to be a deviation. See what that means as far as what is going to be banned away.
When you ban Orianna on, when the enemy team has first pick, you are also saying, I'm banning Azir, and also I'm banning Jace. You're basically saying, I don't have two other bans. They are just going to be the same ones again. So said bans might change, but in fact, they absolutely do not, as Jace will 100% be banned with Malphite and also the Scion ban.
Well, we did say that CVMax has been doing some weird things, so maybe this is the time where Jace actually slips through, and it will.
I was
for the very first time.
This time to think about what comp they want to run, but apparently they're thinking about just giving Sponge over the Jace, and I think probably a bit stunned here are Nongshim. We'll see how long it takes them to lock it in, or if they're like, this is a trap, we don't like this.
Well, I wrote it in already, Wolf, and it is going to get locked in. And so Dplus, they need to have an answer to the champion that hasn't been allowed through all tournament long. It was the entirety of the first week, and this is the first time that we have seen it left up and available. And Dplus, now they have to show us exactly what their response is going to be to this champion.
I mean, they definitely have an answer. Okay, this answer is very basic. It's not that creative, as Smash takes a big, deep breath there, knowing that this game is going to be about him on the solution, the acceleration of it. Now, with Kalista Renata, did you just slam Milio? Because remember, a lot of Enchanter supports, like the main two, like the Bard, Nico, are gone. Karma Lucian doesn't really inspire you, unless, well, I mean, except with Karma's inspired abilities. But doesn't really inspire you in terms of what this draft is looking for. Lucian, Nami.
I mean, it has to be like Nami or Milio, right? They're the only options that they really have.
I mean, the Milio was a Keria exclusive. It's otherwise been Nami every time. Now, everyone hope that Career locks in the correct rune and does not pick Aftershock again.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what is going to happen there. But now, next round of bans to come on through here, as both teams are looking for some solo lanes. Not likely that Kingin is going to be playing the Jace. He has been pretty much a jungler since those buffs did come on through.
Yeah, he's 100% going to be playing the jungle in this situation. So, what do you want to take away?
Never mind.
They think this could possibly be played in top lane. I find that very interesting.
Quite odd. Maybe Lucid feels like the Vi matchup is playable into the Jace. And so, wanting to take away any option to pivot out of playing it in the jungle. Kingin, of course, is a pretty competent Jace player himself.
That's true. I'm kind of wondering what Scout is going to be playing in this draft in terms of safe, long-term damage to empower the late part of this composition here for Nongshim RedForce. The Ahri gets taken away. Ahri Vi with Lucian is an incredible all-in composition. Not quite as all-in as the last game, but it is very strong at getting tempo early and holding on to the game. See if we see one more ban on jungle here. Take away something that is going to be a little bit tankier. But you could probably just focus elsewhere. But this draft is like, for Dplus here, it's very obvious. It's very straightforward. They're like, okay, I don't want to deal with Wukong. And
it is very interesting that it's double jungle bans when we assume Jace is going to be going there.
And the flexibility is still there, right? And Nongshim are kind of like, well, maybe, now we have a different top lane pick that we weren't necessarily expecting to lock in. They'll take away the LeBlanc from Showmaker again.
So Victor is a champion that they could possibly be playing. The mid lane pool is the one that's the thinnest at the moment, with 4 mid lane bans already on the table.
Is it like Lissandra for Showmaker?
Oh, that feels like no damage at all.
Yeah, no, I just don't think this is a great situation here.
Zahen.
As heavy top Zahen.
Okay, that's what she was looking at least at the moment. That'll be blind, most likely.
It is pretty tough to play that into Jace as well. So this is kind of an interesting call if they're assuming that Jace is going to go top, or perhaps they just are saying, look, play Jace top. There's not anything left for Sponge in the jungle, and the Vi is going to be incredibly powerful and dominant in this early game. So they're forcing Nongshim RedForce to make a choice because the Jace top into the Zahin feels so easy to play and so easy to set up, so tempting. But instead, it will be the Gnar, which is still available here. We also know Kingen could have potentially played GP in this situation for a lot of extra damage later on. So Dplus, the read here was jungle bans, and I don't think they really got anything out of it.
Whoa, that's blind Akali. Okay, now what is Showmaker going to do into this? I think he probably wanted to play something like Syndra, but Syndra into Akali sounds somewhat difficult.
I think he wants something with CC here.
Yeah.
And somehow a lot of damage as well. I don't think the Anivia is necessarily what he's looking at here, but it could work in this draft, I suppose.
Might be an option.
Twisted Fate.
I mean, that's a classic.
The golden
into the Akali
CC button. And yeah, into Akali. Amazing as well. His ultimate value is going to be pretty high in this draft.
Doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of magic damage, as Twisted Fate isn't exactly oozing damage, but they do have a 1-3-1 win condition that is pretty difficult to deal with. The culling as well in a pinch can clear out waves and things like that, so you can set yourselves up pretty well. I think if for a 1-3-1.
Get ahead. If you get ahead, you are in a phenomenal position as Nongshim RedForce here. And you have the Gnar into the Zahin. You have the Jace, which is going to make anyone's life miserable. All he has to do to gank, by the way, is just drop an Empowered Shock Blast. That connects. It's like, all right, cool. I'm moving on. I have insane clear. I can do whatever I want. And so the situation is very good for them in this draft. But I'm kind of wondering now, like, how do you play this Twisted Fate composition? Like, you need to control sides. You need to control the Akali early. It's one of Showmaker's best. Obviously, he has a skin on this. You have the Vi. The setup is there to burst with Lucian. But Smash cannot get caught. They need to hold on to lead. They need to hold on to map control.
Well, see how it does go. As ladies and gentlemen, game number 3 between DK and Nongshim. Nongshim with advantages in both of the games. But DK were able to eke out the win in game number 1. We'll see whether Nongshim can take control this time and not let go as we get into the rift here for game number 3.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for our final game of the series. Still, of course, one more waiting. The DN Supers versus DRX coming up after this. But first, you have to see who's going to win between Nongshim and DK. Is already Korea taking a little bit of damage. He's otherwise not going to be too worried. This is going to be a difficult lane for DK. As Showmaker already losing out on the trade here. As Scout procking that electrocute, feeling pretty fantastic.
Showmaker just has to use his ranged advantage and try to get as much damage done as possible. He went Unsealed Spellbook, which is incredibly common on Twisted Fate. There's a lot of different summoner spells he's going to get value out of. And he has... His ultimate is practically a teleport, so there's a lot of different setups you could use with it as well.
Well, Smash seeing what he can find here as Nongshim playing very aggressively with their positioning. Ebb and Flow working out quite nicely, though, as DK do have the sustain advantage in this lane. Nongshim certainly with the early damage potential, especially as level 2 does come through. Bailout, things like this start to really make it difficult. As Nongshim, what are we doing here? This is kind of crazy. They're underneath the turret. Lehens is dead, but so is Smash. And so they deny so much of the farm.
Yeah, that ends up being pretty worth here, ultimately. He's going to put him in a significant CS advantage. They also get first blood, so that absolutely works out. The bailout all in, pretty common to see. And, you know, there's not really much outplay there, frankly, for Smash and Career. They have a level 2 advantage. They push this wave in. And Smash and Career are just like, all right, how many mains can we get? Can we get level 2? Can we get level 2 in time? Lehens uses the bailout, and the Rend comes through. Taeyun walks out.
Yeah, so that is money onto the AD carry. There was the kill traded back for Smash. It's not like Korea picked it up, so could have been worse for DK, but it is still definitely bad, as this bottom lane was going to be a huge point of power here for Nongshim. That's only been confirmed. We can't necessarily see it in the gold or anything like that, but the advantage that Taeyun has is certainly high. Shock Blast is going to connect. That is Sponge's first gank, as we could see there. And Lucid now going to be moving on over. And Sponge is just going to push him out of the area, and it looks like Lucid is just going to say, all right, I will be leaving. Top lane scuttle he could go towards. That is, I assume, where Nongshim think he's going, but he has moved down towards this bottom side and is actually just going to be recalling.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what Sponge can get done here with this Jace pick. Has been terrorizing everyone. Well, there's the Shock Blast.
Yep, and that's the gank.
In a one lane where you already have a lot of control. I mean, not in terms of the lane is over, but in terms of they have current push and prio, they're currently winning the lane. Having that extra damage is going to be pretty significant. And he just goes ahead and takes us back and heads towards Krugs on the top side, as Xiu is not enjoying the early game in this matchup, as Zion doesn't enjoy most ranged matchups.
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of a tough time here, as the Boomerangs are being very frustrating. We'll be able to get himself this Siege Minion, though, and level 5 helps top up that health bar just a little bit. You can see it's a little bit of an advantage here for Kingen as far as gold, but big one is Sponge's Aqua Prison is going to connect. Fair bit of damage onto Lehens. Does need to be a little careful.
Yeah, Smash has Barrier, Lens has Flash. I don't think they can make anything of this. Lens will be able to channel this back and get away. Very scary moment there, but gets to hold on to the lead for now. Tatum, that is.
Showmaker does have his Catalyst done, so he's feeling pretty safe here in this mid lane.
Lens trying to bait something. It still has Bailout, by the way, so you really have to be careful about trying to force.
Yeah, there is Smash. Not going to get hit by the logistics protocol, as Nongshim not going to push their luck any further. We'll just go for a little bit of a reset, as Smash and Korea have been able to somewhat stabilize in this lane, only about a wave behind for the moment.
Now, this game is really going to open up when Lucid and Showmaker get their ultimates for Dplus. Because otherwise, just kind of Showmaker generating a passive gold lead with his passive over Scout. And, you know, the rest of the map kind of Nongshim favored, right? Nongshim have the Gnar advantage on the top side. As you guys can see here, even Mega being utilized to grab this first plate. And then in the bottom lane, we see that Renata trade has really favored Nongshim, and they've been able to maintain an advantage there. We'll grab this first dragon. So for Dplus, they're on the back foot technically, but they're kind of supposed to be for right now. We'll see what happens again when those ults come online, and how they can coordinate team fights and single target CC and the blow-up damage that Smash holds. Because if they can get him ahead, he gets his first item online, starts farming, starts pushing the Kalista out of the mid lane, and Dplus have a real fighting chance in this game. I'm not 100% sold on this strat for Dplus. It feels very freestyle.
Yeah,
but they kind of got something in the end.
Oh, Bubble going to go wide here as we've got the Jace moving down. Smash taking so much damage as that Shock Blast connects, but they're not quite able to lock him down. So DK, they will get the flash out of Korea. Otherwise, not too much more. Nongshim really putting the pressure on in this early game, but haven't been able to translate that into a gold advantage just yet.
Yeah, that's not quite, but always threatening. Level 6 on the horizon here for Lucid, as he is looking for that scuttle on the top side. The rest of his jungle is spawning, as well as blue buff just came up.
Yep.
So he'll have level 6. Showmaker has his, obviously, as well. And you can see Kingen is playing back defensively now. And he picked up a Cull. Kind of knows that his early game is poke and chunk with hyperprocs into this Zahin. And then once the ults come through, he's just going to play a little bit slow. Look to be a secondary AD carry threat really later on in the game, as well as additional follow-up CC.
Yep. There's a Gnar into the wall, as Xiu, of course, does have his passive, so he's going to be fine. But still, this is... We know that Zahin can really get some stuff done in later game team fights. We've seen it already utilized. I believe Kingen actually had a pretty good performance on the champion last week. So we'll see whether Xiu can do a similar thing here, as has been able to pick up some control of the wave, at least for the moment. Cull by for Kingen means that he is just happy to sit back and farm and make things happen later on into the game. There's a bit of a ping onto Scout. Cease and Desist is now available for Lucid. And so Showmaker moving up the lane, might be baiting something here as he does lock the gold card.
And Scout just gonna hold his ground. That's the end of that for now.
Oh, Sponge.
Okay, here we go.
You can see him. Shock Blast going to connect.
That's all you gotta do.
Yep. Once again, it is just more money. And with first strike there, I mean, every time these Shock Blasts land, Sponge is just walking away that little bit richer.
It's crazy how accurate, you know, these players are after playing, you know, Jace has not really been played in the jungle for a really long time. As Hens and Taven looking for something. Yeah, not gonna happen. Ward gonna go down. I was gonna say, like, we've doubled the Korean Jaces, at least. You know, they're close, because there's a lot of mid-Korean Jaces as well, but we have added a significant, at least 50% more Korean Jaces to the pool.
There are a lot of them.
And they hit those shock blasts. They're pretty good at the mechanics.
And we did have Lucid down towards that bottom side when both of the level 6s were hit by Nongshim in that bottom lane. I got a little bit worried that we'd have a little bit of a fight as Destiny to come forward here from Showmaker, who just throws out a gold card and doesn't find too much more. King and hops away. And that is all she wrote on that one. So first Destiny not exactly finding any joy.
That was super awkward because Showmaker has a whole wave to catch, but the grubs are being taken. Pryo in mid and top side, and the bottom lane is still Nongshim controlled. Nongshim are really starting to pull ahead now.
Well, Lucid will be able to steal away one of the grubs. That is something, as Smash trying to get some work done. Hostile takeover comes in, and Smash is going to help take down Korea. That is going to be the Ren pulled out, and Taeyoon going up to 2-0. Cease and desist in the meantime, though, onto Sponge. A lot of damage there as the burst is enough to take him out. Shia now looking to move on over as Kingin wants to get involved in the fight, as there is the not the supreme display, the perfect execution from Scout, but he will be going down, and Lucid somehow survives as Kingin not able to get his boomerang to go far enough, and now Shio able to dash over that wall. Showmaker does still have the flash, and he flashes over the boomerang to lock down Kingin and take him out.
Certainly a big sigh of relief for Dplus fans after that one. A huge win on the top side of the map after this 2v2 goes awry. Smash drops his ultimate out. It's avoided entirely by Fate's Call. Then the handshake comes through. Follow flash here. Not really going to be too impactful, but it's enough to get Taeyoon in there. Smash has no mana. And then watch how this fight breaks out. Initially, it looks like, okay, they've got this under control. It's very difficult to play this 4D+. The ult comes through from Lucid. And instantly Sponge is deleted. He's not very tanky. He's on the Jace, right? But Lucid shield here for flash as well. Just enough. Just enough.
Man.
Scout just cannot take him out. King cannot close the gap, but he's chased so far in order to try to do so that he ends up going down as well. I believe Dplus got 2 of the 3 grubs. Showmaker flashes the boomerang so he doesn't get slowed. Takes him out there, picks up all that extra gold. Let's take a look at the grubs. Yeah, 2 of the 3 in Dplus's favor now. Keeping the gold close. Desperately needed team fight.
Absolutely. They're not out of the woods just yet. As Lucid moves on over, does get spotted by that Sentinel, and Sponge is going to move in. Gets a bit more money as the culling goes largely to Narnia. And DK will just have to try and be wary of Nongshim in the area. So much vision here towards this bottom side as the second dragon is now available as well. It's likely that Nongshim can head over there and lock that one down as Lucid will spot that there is vision all over the place. But Showmaker, as he is the one with a massive gold advantage, does have his Rod of Ages now completed, and now the Destiny comes in. Gate comes down as well as the Wildcard's doing a fair bit of work. There's a tidal wave to lock down too. The bubble is there as well, and they just evaporate at the hands of Dplus.
Yeah, very clean setup again from Dplus. Really not much that could have been done there once the initial salvo comes through. This combo, incredibly powerful. We've said it for years.
Oh, ulti comes down here for Shiu, but Kingin just does the walk strategy to get out of the way.
Little emote to remind everyone that, you know, he was hoping that one a little bit different.
Yeah.
Scout on a flank here, but I don't know if he could really accomplish much. Hoping for the Shock Blast, I suppose, follow-up.
Yeah, does manage to find the Shuriken backflip there, but Lucid is going to be absolutely fine. And he just gets himself over the wall, and out they will go. But the main part of the story is 3-0-2 here for Showmaker. This guy is now gigantic.
He's got his Dark Seal.
Yeah, and also a cheeky blasting wand and an amp tome on top of the fact that that Rod of Ages is already complete.
Look at this setup here. Lucid gets hand shook back, doesn't care. Showmaker has the gold card, and they just have everything. Like, they have the tidal wave coming through, the gold card to set it up.
And it was max value for everything in that moment as well, as now gold card onto Scout. Lucid once again going to catch him gorgeously with the Vault Breaker, but this time, oh, this this time he's going to go down, but it's a trade 1-for-1. And now Sponge having to run away. Thankfully, there was control of the top lane, so Shiu wasn't making his way down. Is now Korea looking for an angle. Ebb and Flow gets his health back up again, but you can see that health bar is not exactly the largest as a whole. So Nongshim still with a fair bit of control of this bottom side of the map.
It's a bloodbath, as we will have the mid plates going further into Showmaker's favor. His lead that he has, that he's generated, is getting bigger and bigger, and obviously with the passive, he is going to just be so huge. And when his rod completes, he is going to have another spike there as well. Bit of an opportunity here potentially for an all-in on either side. Lehenz's handshake is really the first ability that has to hit for Nongshim. And if it misses, Dplus will definitely follow up here with the tidal wave backup. Showmaker gets almost the entire turret.
It's kind of ridiculous, the amount that they had there, as Shiu gets the pullback. There's the ulti. This time King is not able to avoid it as Sponge is moving up, but there's the kill solo for Shiu, and Sponge doesn't want anything of it. Relentless pursuit to get out of the way of Lehen's. Toss-out takeover comes in, but it's another wave, and this time it's from Korea as Taeun does manage to dodge out of the way. He's got the bailout, but it is not going to be enough, and it's a 2v2 win for the Lucian Army in the bottom lane.
All right, big wins here for Dplus now on both sides of the map at the same time. And it's the Zahen angle here on the top side. Well, we'll start off with this play first, where Sponge ends up getting caught. Now, Sponge is super squishy, obviously, on this champ, but can buy some space with the hammer, as we're not done yet.
Yeah, Smash is dead, ladies and gentlemen. There is the Hammer to the Skies. A teleport came in from Kingen as well. Smash was very dead.
He is certainly in the death chamber now. Anyway, that last skirmish ended up going pretty well for Showmaker, and Lucid once again bought a ton of time. Still a kill went over to Scout, but he did his job incredibly well. And, you know, they get the kill with the Zahen on the top side. Kingen didn't have flash, has it now, but gets flashed on by Shiu. Well, he doesn't have it. So he ends up picking up a 600 gold lead. And this Gunblade looks really cool. We all love Gunblade, you know, all waiting for it to come back. But the curve of this game, it's feeling like that second item, plus the rod, plus 10 stacks of Darksteel. The Gunblade looking like it's not too sharp. Maybe it doesn't have ammo.
I think if there was only one item on his opposition, it could be fine. However, there is not quite parity between our mid laners in this game. Of course, cheating a little bit is the Twisted Fate, as he does like to print a bit of money, but this is looking dire, and especially with the Lich Bane coming in as item number 2, that is a lot of damage potential here in side lanes for the Twisted Fate, as Lucid is going to push Sponge away. The gate had come on forward, and Showmaker spotted on that ward, so not going to hit those wild cards, as now Korea takes a large amount of damage from Sponge. Is this going to be once again the Malphite situation where the champion gets banned all the time and whenever it gets played it loses?
Well, the game state looks like that might be where we're headed, although it has made a huge impact. Like, yes, he is not winning the game, and you were correct on that one so far. Like, the game is not looking like it's in a very one position by Nongshim, but every time he hits an empowered shock blast, I'm like, yeah, I see why that's banned. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep, there's certainly some avenues. As now Showmaker and Scout facing off once again. Rift Herald going to get started here by Nongshim. Full vision available for DK.
Very different from the Malphite, because the Malphite, you know, his losses looked pretty bad. We're like, ooh, I don't know if this does anything. But in this, it's feeling like it's doing a lot, even in a negative game state. Let's see if he can do a lot in this fight.
Yep, Smash getting so much work done as there's the tidal wave to get a massive amount of value itself. Fate's Call does come in to keep Lehens alive as the bailout is not enough. And it's 2 for Smash. He does get taken out here by Scout, though. The perfect execution is pretty good, but Showmaker finds the gold card, and Shiu is going to be able to find the kill. As Scout's out of buttons and out of chances. King in there on the bottom side, trying to get something back, but it's another one-team fight for DK.
Yeah, DK picking up 4 on this one, putting their gold lead into 3,000. Sponge was able to secure the smite on this Herald, but otherwise wasn't really able to do a whole lot. He's the initial target here. Offers some damage back onto Lucid, but there's just so much free space for this Lucian pick. Scout is able to take him out ultimately in the end. It also gets his flash, but he has to give his life for it. So feels like, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Rocking a hard place. So, you know, one of those buzzwords. It's, oh, I got him, but does not necessarily really feel like a good thing. King in here, desperate now on the 1v2.
Yeah, Gold Card gonna get the flash out for it, and a point-blank culling from Smash. Try and lock down King, and he's very dead. That's gonna be the kill over to Showmaker thanks to the Lich Bane. As Nongshim looking for the cross map here in the mid lane, they should be able to get it with the help of the Rift Herald, as it's now down exceptionally low. Turret will be taken, but now Shiu is in for the wraparound, looking for that angle. try and take down Nongshim, but I think DK have decided against it.
Well, I mean, if there's a push up from Smash, they certainly could try to make something of this, but instead he's just going to say, you know what, back away. I'm going to grab plate gold. She will not follow the order to back away, in fact.
Well, the rest of the team are making their way over. There's the knock-up with the help of the tidal wave, and with Xiu there with the passive. And they will be able to put Lehens in the bubble. They take him down, and now Lucid is fighting the rest of them, and this time he's going to stay alive. Ulti comes forward from Xiu, but Sponge, oh no, the gold card, and that's going to spell his demise. 2-0-5 now for the Zion, but 8-0-5 for Showmaker on the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, Showmaker, I mean, when you see that damage hit, the chunks are huge. Like, he is actually so fed. You can basically just clear waves instantly as well, so he is just going to be able to freely push sides, which he's been doing so much of. By the way, they won that fight in that skirmish without his ultimate. It's online now, and maybe we'll see a collapse onto... I mean, look at this damage already. Scout has Merc Treads. Tier 3.
Well, there is the Destiny once again. Spots where everyone's going, but gets the teleport out and says, all right, Kingen, welcome to the lane. I will back away.
I think Showmaker found the pick today.
I think so.
You know,
I think he knows this one. This one we've got some experience with.
I think he knew Zoe, but the comp was just too risky. The execution wasn't there, but he is really just going back to an old favorite in this comp. I mean, Smash, like, he is so good at Lucian. It's been one of his best picks. And, you know, career, like Sadami, as we've pointed out multiple times, Xiu
is going to struggle to hold on to his passive, I think, in this play. Let's see how he can actually do, and it looks like he's not going to be able to offer anything back. Down he will go.
Let's see what the
didn't actually have the passive available, so never mind.
Gonna see if they can get this turret here, maybe some plates and a inner turret. I just don't think they quite have the wave here in mid. If they can buy some time here, Showmaker will start to really hit hard on that top lane. He's got the Lich Bane. Look at how quickly that turret went down to one plate. He is so huge, 4,000 gold ahead. I mean, there's not much to say about this game except Showmaker big. Yeah. Good luck, Nongshim.
That's succinct, Wolf. I actually really liked that. That's basically telling the whole story. He's got the Forbidden Book. That is what he went and purchased.
Because this comp for Nongshim isn't ahead and has a big problem in this massive Twisted Fate, which when Showmaker buys Majai's, his win rate's got to be like over 95%. I know I always talk about this, but like it just ends up being true. But
Lucid is the same level as Scout. This is kind of ridiculous.
Scout, run.
Yeah, Cease and Desist will come on forward. And yeah, I don't think the execution is all that perfect. And Showmaker is going to pick it up. That's a Lich Bane proc, and that is a dead Akali. As the rest of DK now looking for an angle. The Destiny, the Gate. That's what's coming on forward here as they're looking to lock down Sponge before anything else happens. As Taeun might be able to take down Smash, and he does. Hostile takeover is going to connect, but Xiu is still so dangerous. There is the knock-up, and the bailout is not going to do anything at all. It's the Nami that locks up Taeun, and Lehens is now in no man's land. Kingen still hasn't really been involved in too much so far this game, but does manage to at least get a wave shoved in. And there's the pullback. She is going to be able to lock down the Renata. And ladies and gentlemen, this game is really running away from Nongshim.
It's starting to feel like this one is just locked up.
It's also our third Ocean Soul in a row.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to talk about it, but
that's too many Oceans.
Very boring. There's a lot of CC in Dplus's comp, and it all links together, right? I mean, okay, ult him, gold card him, punch him, he's dead. Oh, but Lich Bane proc. And then
it was Lich Bane and passive as well, so
when you look at
it's just very dead.
When you look at like the situation for Nongshim, their CC is Fate's Call, question mark, Handshake, Jace Hammer, Narvar. But Kingen's playing KDA Kingen in this one. He is not joining. He is not coming over with no Nar. No setup. It's really easy for Dplus to just walk around, pick people to kill, and press the buttons and kill them. Taeun has done a lot of damage this game, but how much of that damage is really effective damage in team fights when we're not seeing team fights is the real question.
Yeah, not seeing much of it. As Nongshim will at least be able to get this wave shoved in. The Baron has spawned a couple of minutes ago. I don't think they're going to be looking for that, as they do at least have vision control around the area. 1-3-1, certainly an availability here for DK, especially with the advantage that they have with how strong this Zahin is. Xiu is pretty scary at the minute, as Showmaker moves up towards the top side using the Destiny, I believe, just to get a little bit more information. And the rest of DK now looking for an angle here as Lehens tanks up the culling for Taeun. Still, it's a lot of damage from this Lucian with 3 items almost complete. Tidal Wave comes down. Fate's Call has to be used defensively as the bubble was looking to try and catch Lehens out of the air, but it does not quite work that way. And Nongshim still just backing away as DK move further and further towards their base. Yes, Korea takes a lot of damage from Shock Blast, but the problem is not a lot of it's really sticking.
Yeah, it's like a lot of Shock Blast damage, a lot of Taeun damage up in front, but they just have too many ways to kill targets outside of 5v5s that we aren't seeing.
What's doing there? Doran, explain it.
I
don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a...
Sometimes they just want to go on a merry jaunt around the top lane.
Sometimes. Baron has spawned. Now, it's a 2.5 item Lucian when he hits his IE. I think they can really take that Baron out pretty quick. But at this point, you know, still with the Twisted Fate comp, sure they can see the rotations coming with the ultimate, but they don't have that right now. They're just playing it safe. They have such a lead. There's no reason to put it, put all of your eggs in the Baron basket here and potentially allow Nongshim to come back. That's 4,000 gold over Smash, who was the second highest in the game, as the carries are online.
5,100 ahead of Scout. That is a lot of extra items that we can see. It's only 2 that have been built here.
And both of them are, very gold effective. I mean, the Arm Guard is expensive, but it can literally save your life and give you...
I mean, it's basically a Zonya's, right?
Yeah, and then the Majai's Soul Stealer at 14 stacks is a bargain, as Nongshim are just going to take their own Desperation Baron here and say, look, you'll have to 5v5 us if all 5 of us are on this Baron, so come and do it.
Destiny comes in, spots Kingen looking for Showmaker here. Does get on top of him as the rest of DK are going to show up. Lucid gets into the pit, a teleport forward from the Zahin as well as Sponge. Takes so much damage from that culling. Hostile Takeover does absolutely nothing at all as the bubble is fantastic. Lucid goes in, just punches the Renata to death, and Taeun then has no option. He did have the bailout running, but it's not actually going to do anything at all. It's a double kill here for the jungler from DK. Sponge gonna go down as Korea finishes him off, and Kingen versus Showmaker wasn't looking great for Kingen on the outset, and now Shiu's going to show up as well. There is the gold card, and down will go the Gnar. That's Baron, that's a clean ace, and DK, they're looking like they'll get revenge after game 2.
Does look that way. It was pretty cute to see Kingen get the Sterak shield, and then, yeah, he knew his TP was going to get airdrop. He's like, I'm going to get a massive shield. As watch Kingen in the beginning of this fight, he just zones Showmaker away. He has his Narvar in a pretty good spot. If he's able to maybe come over and impact this play with Narvar, I mean, that's desperation. Or rather, the desperation fight here for Nongshim requires engage, and like they don't have any ways to lock down these threats, so it's just Taeun who dies as they desperately try to get something done without any CC, and just a meat grinder here, even without Showmaker. I really like, you see the shield into the other shield, it's like, well,
Yep.
great
Great job, team. That was really good, Showmaker. This is how you use coach voice, by the way. You just wait until the game is basically over, and then you call them and let them know that they've done a great job. I said Smash, really good job there as well, dashing forward, playing aggressively. And DK definitely have been playing aggressively in this one, as now they look to try and siege this bottom inhibitor turret. Shiu doing the same thing in mid. And the plates are really just evaporating. Twisted Fate really makes short work of turrets.
Is there a chance he could fully stack this Majai's?
Well, I mean, they just need to win another team fight, and he probably will. As now Culling just looking to try and kill Sponge. It almost does.
Showmaker's like, let me touch him. I need the stacks.
Well, Shuriken backflip, not really doing too much here as, yeah, inhibitor turret will go down. Kingen looks for the angle with the ulti, but Shiu is just going to shrug that one off. And 2-level advantage here for the top laner as well. I mean, this game is very much out of Nongshim's hands now. It's going to require a big mistake here from DK. As Lucid, not going to let that one happen as Shiu decides to dash in. Let's see what they can actually find. Double pullback as the ulti comes down as well. The Destiny comes on in, and down will go the Gnar. Scout looks for the backline, but Showmaker is going to try and hold him in position. And God, the damage is repugnant from DK. Another swift ace, and they will be walking away with another victory here in the LCK Cup.
Thank you, Nongshim, says Showmaker, for letting me put the final pages in the book. The Death Note is complete. Dplus will close it out in a 2-1 fashion. Nongshim looking for the sweep, but they could not get any steam in that final game. Game 1, the closest of the 3, then we had 2 back-to-back slugfests where one team got massively ahead.